When I found a lipstick on my husband's tie, I didn't scream. I poured ghost pepper extract into his aftershave. That night, he showed up blistered, shaking, and crying. I asked, "Rough night at work?" Before we continue, comment where you're watching from, and subscribe to the channel. We'd love to see how far our stories are reaching. Let me back up. My name is Karen. I'm 59 years old, and I've been married to Ronald for 34 years. 34 years of waking up at 5:30 in the morning to make his coffee exactly how he likes it. 3 sugars, no cream. 34 years of ironing his work shirts while he complained that the collars weren't stiff enough. 34 years of listening to him talk about structural engineering projects I stopped understanding or caring about somewhere around year 12. I worked as a chemical lab technician for 34 years. Not glamorous, but it paid half the mortgage on our house in Austin, Texas. A nice house, 3 bedrooms, small backyard with a live oak tree that dropped leaves I raked every November while Ronald watched football inside. I drove a 2015 Honda Civic with 140,000 miles on it. Gray, practical, invisible, like me. Ronald drove a 2022 Toyota Tacoma, metallic blue, leather seats. He said he needed it for work sites, but I noticed it stayed pretty clean for a truck that supposedly hauled equipment. He's 62. Silver hair he's vain about. Keeps it trimmed every 2 weeks at a barbershop downtown that charges $45 for what I could do with clippers at home for free. But I stopped suggesting things like that years ago. Our son Kevin is 32, lives in Seattle, works as an architect. He calls every 3 weeks, usually when he needs something, advice about a project, or money. Mostly money. I paid $42,000 for his graduate school with an inheritance from my mother. He thanked me once in a text message, 3 words. "Thanks, Mom, really, really." Like I'd lent him $20 for gas. The lipstick was Maybelline, Red Revival, $8.99 at any drugstore. I know because I checked later. I found it on a Tuesday, October 15th, 2024, at 7:43 in the evening. Ronald came home late from a client dinner. He smelled like wine and something sweet, sickly sweet, like cotton candy perfume, the kind a young woman wears when she doesn't know better yet. He tossed his jacket on the couch, loosened his tie, the same charcoal gray tie I'd given him for Christmas 3 years ago, and went straight to the bedroom. He didn't kiss me. He hadn't kissed me hello in maybe 8 years. I picked up the jacket to hang it. Years of training. And that's when I saw it. A smear of red on the tie. Bright artificial red, the color of lies. I didn't say anything. I stood there in the living room holding his jacket, my hand shaking, and I didn't say a single word. I heard the shower turn on. I heard him humming. When was the last time Ronald hummed? I couldn't remember. I went to the kitchen and made myself a cup of tea, chamomile, and sat at the table. The same table where we'd had dinner an hour earlier, leftover chicken I'd cooked on Sunday, reheated. He'd eaten quickly, barely tasting it, said he had to meet a contractor at 6:30. A lie. The first lie I could name anyway. I thought about confronting him. I played it out in my head. Me holding up the tie. Him making excuses. Maybe denying it. Maybe admitting it. Maybe crying. Maybe angry. I thought about crying myself. About yelling. About throwing dishes. About asking why. Why wasn't I enough? What did I do wrong? 34 years? What did I do wrong? But I didn't do any of that. Instead, I went to the garage. We have a storage shelf in there. Metal, 5 tiers, full of things we've accumulated over 3 decades. Paint cans, old tools, boxes of Christmas decorations we haven't used since Kevin moved out. And on the bottom shelf, in a plastic bin labeled Karen Lab Supplies, I keep a few things from my old job. Beakers, pH strips, protective gloves, and a small brown bottle, 2 ounces, labeled in my handwriting, Carolina Reaper Extract, 2,000 SAU, Scoville heat units. That's how you measure capsaicin, the chemical that makes peppers hot. Jalapenos are about 5,000 SHU. Habaneros, maybe 300,000. Carolina Reaper Extract, the kind I'd used years ago for a project testing chemical irritants, sits at 2 million. It's not meant for human contact. It's research grade, dangerous. I unscrewed the cap and smelled it. Nothing. Pure capsaicin has no smell, but it'll burn through your skin like acid if you're not careful. I put on a pair of latex gloves, the kind I used to wear every day at work, and carried the bottle inside. Ronald keeps his aftershave in the bathroom cabinet, Brute Classic. Same brand he's used since we got married, $12.99 a bottle. He goes through one every 6 weeks. I opened it. Dark amber liquid, heavy cologne smell, masculine, old-fashioned. I poured out about a third of it into the sink, then carefully, very carefully, added 10 drops of the extract. I swirled it gently, watched it mix, invisible, undetectable. Then I put it back exactly where it was, label facing out. I threw away the gloves, washed my hands 3 times with dish soap, scrubbing under my nails, and went to bed. Ronald was already asleep, snoring softly, one arm thrown over his face. I lay next to him in the dark and stared at the ceiling. I didn't feel angry. I didn't feel sad. I felt cold, calculating. Like I'd just finished a very precise experiment and now I was waiting for the results. The next morning, Wednesday, Ronald woke up at 6:15 like always. I heard him in the bathroom, the shower, the electric razor, the cabinet opening. I was in the kitchen making coffee when I heard the first sound, a gasp, then silence, then a low moan, the kind of sound an animal makes when it's hurt. I didn't move. I poured myself a cup of coffee, added 1 sugar, stirred it slowly. "Karen?" His voice was strangled, panicked. "Karen!" I walked to the bathroom door. He was standing at the sink, both hands gripping the edge, his face bright red, covered in splotches, his eyes watering. The aftershave bottle was on the counter, cap off. "What's wrong?" I asked. My voice was steady, calm, concerned even. Something's... My face is on fire." He turned on the cold water, splashed it on his face, but that only made it worse. Capsaicin isn't water-soluble. Water spreads it. He gasped again, louder this time, and I saw small blisters starting to form on his cheeks and neck. "Should I call 911? I asked. No, I don't know what. The aftershave? Something's wrong with the aftershave." He grabbed a towel, pressed it to his face, but the fabric only rubbed the chemical in deeper. He was shaking now, his whole body trembling. "Maybe it went bad," I suggested. "You've had that bottle a while." He didn't answer. He was bent over the sink, breathing hard, his skin getting redder by the second. I watched him for a moment. This man I'd spent 34 years with, this man who'd come home last night smelling like another woman's perfume with another woman's lipstick on his tie, and I felt absolutely nothing. "I'll get you some ice," I said. I went to the kitchen, filled a plastic bag with ice cubes, wrapped it in a dish towel, and brought it back. He pressed it to his face, whimpering. The blisters were spreading, small white bumps across his forehead and jawline. It looked painful. It was painful. I knew exactly how painful. "Maybe you should stay home today," I said. "Call in sick." He nodded, unable to speak, and stumbled back to the bedroom. I heard him collapse on the bed, still holding the ice to his face. I finished my coffee, rinsed the cup, put it in the dishwasher. Then I got dressed for work, a pair of khakis and a blue blouse, comfortable shoes, and drove my gray Honda to the lab like it was any other Wednesday. That night, when I came home, Ronald was sitting on the couch, his face covered in calamine lotion, pink and swollen. He looked up at me when I walked in, his eyes still red and watering. "Rough night at work?" I asked, setting my purse on the table. He stared at me. For a long moment, he just stared, and I stared back, my face blank, neutral. Then he looked away. "Yeah," he muttered. "Rough night. I made dinner. Spaghetti with marinara sauce from a jar, garlic bread from the freezer. We ate in silence. He didn't mention the aftershave, he didn't mention the blisters, and I didn't mention the lipstick. But something had shifted. I could feel it in the air between us. A new kind of tension, cold and dangerous. He didn't know what I'd done, not yet, but part of him suspected. I could see it in the way he glanced at me when he thought I wasn't looking, in the way he flinched when I handed him a glass of water. After dinner, I washed the dishes while he sat in the living room watching a baseball game. I dried my hands, hung up the towel, and stood in the doorway watching him. This man with his swollen face and his secrets. This stranger I'd lived with for 34 years. My phone buzzed. A text message from my sister Laura, 10 months older than me, lives in Dallas. We used to be close, back when we were young. But she's always had a way of making me feel small. She got divorced 5 years ago, spent the settlement money on a condo and a new wardrobe, and now she spends her time telling me how I should live my life. The text said, "Saw your anniversary's coming up. 34 years. You must be so proud. Ronald's a lucky man." I stared at the message for a long time. 34 years. November 3rd. 3 weeks away. I thought about all the anniversaries we'd celebrated. The dinners, the gifts, the cards with generic messages about love and commitment. I thought about the lipstick on his tie. I thought about the sound he'd made this morning when the capsaicin hit his skin. I didn't respond to Laura. Instead, I opened my email and started searching. I needed to know more. I needed to know everything. And I needed to know it before our anniversary, before whatever he had planned, before whatever came next. Because this wasn't over. This was just the beginning. It took me 3 days to get into Ronald's email. 3 days of watching him type his password when he thought I wasn't looking, memorizing the pattern of his fingers on the keyboard. Ronald1962. His name and birth year. Men are so predictable. Thursday night, October 17th, he went to bed early, said his face still hurt. The blisters were healing, but his skin looked raw, angry red patches across his cheeks. I waited until I heard him snoring, then took his laptop from his home office and sat at the kitchen table. The email loaded slowly. I held my breath. Then I was in. 47 unread messages. I scrolled through them, my heart pounding. Spam, work correspondence, a few ads. Then I saw it. A message from someone named Amanda Cortez, sent 3 days ago, Monday, October 14th, the day before I found the lipstick. The subject line said, "Can't wait for tonight." I clicked it open. "Baby, I'm so excited for our dinner tomorrow. Wear that cologne I like, the one that makes me crazy. I'll wear the red dress you bought me. See you at 7. Love you always. A." I stared at the screen. The red dress. The cologne. 7 o'clock, the time he told me he was meeting a contractor. I scrolled down. There were dozens of messages from Amanda, going back 8 months, March 2023, 8 months of baby, and I love you, and when are you leaving her? When are you leaving her? I kept scrolling, then I found something worse. An email from my nephew Dennis, Laura's son, dated October 10th. Subject, Mom talked to Dr. Flynn. I opened it. "Ron, Mom says Dr. Flynn is on board. He'll do the evaluation for $5,000, cash, no records. Just get Karen to the appointment and he'll sign off on the cognitive decline diagnosis. Mom's lawyer friend says once we have the medical documentation, getting guardianship should be easy, especially with her age and the concerning behaviors we've documented. The house alone is worth $520K, plus whatever savings she's hiding. We split it 40-30-30 like we discussed. Mom gets 40 for arranging everything. You get 30, I get 30 for the gym connection and keeping Amanda distracted. Should be wrapped up by Thanksgiving. Let me know when you schedule the appointment." I read it 3 times. Then I read it again. My own sister, my nephew, planning to have me declared mentally incompetent so they could take my house, my savings, everything I'd worked 34 years to build. And Dennis mentioned the gym connection, keeping Amanda distracted. He'd introduced Ronald to Amanda. My nephew had pimped out some girl at his gym to keep my husband busy while they robbed me. I kept scrolling. Another email from Ronald to Dennis, dated October 12th. Appointment scheduled for October 27th, 10 a.m., Dr. Marcus Flynn's private office on Lamar Boulevard. I'll tell Karen it's a routine checkup. Laura confirmed her lawyer can file guardianship papers same day if Flynn's report is solid. Kevin called yesterday. I told him everything. He's on board. Said he needs money for a down payment on a condo anyway. He'll back us up if Karen makes trouble. Kevin, my son who I'd paid $42,000 for graduate school. My son who called every 3 weeks asking for advice, for money, for help. He knew they were planning to steal from me and he was helping them. I closed the laptop very carefully. My hands were shaking, but not from fear. from rage. Pure, cold rage. I looked at the calendar on the wall. October 19th. The appointment with Dr. Flynn was October 27th. 8 days. I had 8 days. I went to the bedroom. Ronald was still asleep, his mouth open, snoring peacefully. I stood in the doorway watching him. This man I'd trusted, who I'd built a life with, who was planning to have me locked away in some assisted living facility while he and my family divided up my assets like I was already dead. I went back to the kitchen and opened my laptop. My own laptop that I'd bought with my own money. I logged into our joint bank account, the one we'd had since 1991. Balance, $95,000. I'd contributed 52% of every deposit for 34 years. I knew because I kept records, spreadsheets going back decades, every paycheck, every expense. I opened a new browser tab and searched for law firms in Austin specializing in elder abuse. I found 3. I sent emails to all of them. Brief, professional, requesting consultations. Then I did something I should have done years ago. I opened a new bank account, just in my name, at a different bank. I transferred $49,400, exactly half of the joint account, plus $500 for the 52% I'd over-contributed over the years. I did it at 11:47 p.m. on a Thursday night, sitting in my kitchen in my bathrobe, and it felt like the first real decision I'd made in decades. Then I went to the garage and found my old voice recorder, a small digital device I'd used for work notes. I charged it, tested it. It worked perfectly. I put it in my purse. Friday morning, Ronald woke up and checked his phone immediately. He always did. I watched him from the kitchen doorway as his face changed, confusion, then panic. He opened the banking app. I knew the exact moment he saw the transfer because he went very still. "Karen?" His voice was careful, controlled. "Did you move money from our account?" "Half of it," I said, pouring myself coffee. "My half." "I opened my own account. Why would you do that?" I turned to look at him. His face was still blotchy from the aftershave, the blisters scabbing over. "I felt like it. You felt like it." He repeated it slowly like I'd said something in a foreign language. "Karen, that's our money. Our joint account. You can't just—" "I can," I interrupted. And I did. It's my money. I earned it. I transferred exactly what I contributed. He stood up, walked toward me. "This isn't like you. You're acting strange. Have you been feeling okay? Maybe you should see a doctor." There it was. The setup. The beginning of their narrative. Karen's acting strange. She needs to see a doctor. She's not mentally competent. "I feel fine," I said. "Better than I've felt in years, actually." He stared at me. I could see him thinking, calculating, trying to figure out what I knew, how much danger he was in. Then his phone buzzed. He looked down at it, and I saw his jaw tighten. A text message. Probably from Dennis or Laura, probably asking what happened, why I moved the money. "I have to go to work," he said finally. "Okay." He left without kissing me goodbye, not that he ever did anymore. I called in sick to work, something I'd done maybe 5 times in 34 years. Then I called my sister Laura. "Karen!" She sounded surprised, pleased. "I was just thinking about you. How are you?" "I'm fine. I wanted to ask you something." "Of course, anything. Do you know a Dr. Marcus Flynn?" The silence on the other end of the line lasted exactly 4 seconds. I counted. "No," she said finally. "I don't think so." "Why?" "Ronald mentioned him. Said he's a neurologist. I thought maybe you knew him, since you know so many doctors in Dallas." "No, sorry. Is everything okay?" "Everything's fine. Talk soon." I hung up. Within 30 seconds, my phone lit up with a text from Dennis. "Aunt Karen, haven't heard from you in forever. Want to grab coffee this weekend?" I didn't respond. Instead, I got dressed, put the voice recorder in my jacket pocket, and drove to Dennis's gym. Dennis's gym was called Peak Performance, located in a strip mall on South Congress. Neon signs, mirrored walls, the smell of rubber and sweat. I walked in wearing yoga pants I'd bought that morning and a loose t-shirt. I looked like every other middle-aged woman trying to get healthy. The girl at the front desk was young, blonde, too much makeup. "Can I help you?" "I'm interested in personal training," I said. "Someone recommended Dennis Clark?" "Oh, Dennis is amazing. Let me get him." She disappeared into the back. I stood there, looking at the motivational posters on the walls. No pain, no gain. Stronger every day. I wanted to laugh. Dennis came out, all smiles, 20 pounds heavier than the last time I'd seen him at a family barbecue 2 years ago. He didn't recognize me immediately. I'd lost weight since then, and I was wearing sunglasses. Hi there, I'm Dennis. You're interested in training? I took off the sunglasses. Hello, Dennis. His face went white. Aunt Karen. What are you? I'm interested in personal training, I said calmly. That's what you do, isn't it? Train people? He recovered quickly, I'll give him that. Of course. Yeah, let me show you around. We walked through the gym. He kept talking, nervous chatter about equipment and programs and success stories. I wasn't listening. I was watching, looking for her. I found her by the weight machines. 29, maybe 30 years old, dark hair in a high ponytail, wearing bright pink workout clothes that matched her pink water bottle. She was taking a selfie, holding dumbbells, pouting at her phone. Who's that? I asked Dennis. He followed my gaze. Oh, that's Amanda. She's a client. Influencer, Instagram fitness stuff. She's very pretty. Yeah, she is. He wasn't looking at me anymore. He was looking at the floor. Does she train with you? Sometimes. Mostly she works with the nutritionist here. She's very dedicated. I pulled out my phone like I was checking a message. The voice recorder in my jacket pocket was running. My husband goes to a gym. I wonder if it's this one. Ronald Hughes? Dennis's face did something complicated. Ron? Yeah, he comes here. He works with me 3 times a week. That's wonderful. He never mentioned it. Maybe I could join him sometime, make it a couples thing. He usually comes alone and… Does he know Amanda? The question hung in the air. Dennis swallowed hard. I need to check on another client. Let me get you some information packets. He practically ran away. I stood there, smiling pleasantly, watching Amanda take another selfie. Then I walked over to her. Excuse me? Are you Amanda? She looked up startled, then smiled. Perfect white teeth. Yeah. Do I know you? No, but I follow you on Instagram. You're amazing. My daughter-in-law loves your content. The lie came easily. I didn't have a daughter-in-law. Oh my God, thank you so much. She put down her phone. That's so sweet. Are you a member here? Thinking about it. This seems like a great place. Very friendly atmosphere. We chatted for 10 minutes. She told me about her fitness journey, her brand partnerships, her meal prep business. She mentioned her boyfriend, a successful engineer, so sweet, so generous, planning to leave his situation soon so they could be together properly. His situation? I asked innocently. He's dealing with some complicated family stuff. His elderly mom, she's sick, early Alzheimer's, and he's been taking care of everything. It's hard on him, but he's handling it. He's such a good man. I felt something crack inside my chest. She thought I was sick. Dying, probably, in her imagined version. Ronald had made me into a tragic obstacle, a burden, something to be managed and removed. That sounds difficult, I said. For everyone involved. Yeah. But we're going to be together soon, he promised, maybe even before the holidays. Before the holidays, before Thanksgiving, the same timeline in Dennis's email. I smiled at her. I hope it works out. Thanks. Hey, follow me on Instagram if you want. I post recipes and workout stuff. It's Amanda Fit Austin. I already knew. I'd found her profile the night before. 300,000 followers. Pictures of her in workout clothes, making smoothies, posing with Ronald's blue Tacoma in the background of one photo from 6 months ago. I'd stared at that photo for an hour, zooming in on her smile, wondering what she had that I didn't. Youth, obviously. But what else? I left the gym with a handful of brochures I'd never read. When I got to my car, I sat in the driver's seat and cried for the first time since finding the lipstick. Not because of Amanda. She was a stupid girl who believed a lying man. I cried because of what Ronald had told her. That I was sick. That I was the problem. That I was something to be solved. That night, I didn't come home until 9 p.m. Ronald was waiting, sitting on the couch, his face still healing but the swelling mostly gone. Where were you? Out, I said. Out where? Just out. Why? He stood up. Karen, you're worrying me. First the bank account, now you're disappearing for hours. This isn't like you. I really think you should see someone. A doctor. I saw plenty today, I said. At the gym. I watched his face carefully. He tried to hide it, but I saw the flash of panic in his eyes. What gym? Peak Performance on South Congress. Dennis works there. Did you know that? Yeah, I knew that. Why were you there? I met Amanda. Sweet girl, very fit. She mentioned her boyfriend. Ronald went very still. Karen, she says he's an engineer, dealing with complicated family stuff. An elderly sick mother. It's not what you think. I laughed. Actually laughed. What do I think, Ronald? It was a mistake. It didn't mean anything. She thinks you're leaving me. She thinks I have Alzheimer's. She thinks you're taking care of me out of obligation while planning your future with her. I stepped closer. Is that what you told her? That I'm sick? He didn't answer. Or did you tell her I'm crazy, mentally declining, incompetent? I pulled my phone from my pocket and opened Instagram. Amanda's latest post from 3 hours ago. A selfie, gym mirror, caption, "Can't wait to meet his family soon. New chapter coming." I turned the phone to show him. She sent me a DM after we met. Want to know what it says? His jaw clenched. I read it out loud. Hey, future mother-in-law. So nice chatting today. Ron showed me photos of you from when you were young. You were so beautiful. Can't wait to get to know you better. See you soon. Heart emoji, kiss emoji, prayer hands emoji. I looked up at him. She thinks we're going to be friends, Ronald. She thinks I'm going to welcome her into the family. Because you told her I'm sick, not that you're a lying piece of garbage. Karen, get out. What? Get out of this house. Now. Tonight. This is my house too. I'm not going anywhere. You can't just... Then I'll leave. I walked to the bedroom, pulled out an overnight bag, started throwing clothes into it. Ronald followed me. You're being irrational. You're proving my point. You're not thinking clearly. I turned to face him. I'm thinking very clearly. Clearer than I have in years. You want to have me declared incompetent? You want to take my house? You and Dennis and Laura and Kevin? You want to lock me away? His face told me everything. Yeah, I said softly. I know about Dr. Flynn. I know about the appointment on the 27th. I know about all of it. He took a step back. How? Doesn't matter how. What matters is, you have 6 days to call it off. All of it. Or I go to the police with everything I know. You don't have proof of anything. I pulled the voice recorder from my jacket pocket and held it up. Want to bet? I left him standing in the bedroom and walked out to my car. I drove to a Holiday Inn 3 miles away and checked in for the night. Room 214, queen bed, ugly floral bedspread, everything I needed. I sat on the bed and checked my phone. 7 missed calls from Ronald, 3 from Dennis, 1 from Laura, and 1 text message from Amanda's Instagram account. Hey girl, just wanted to say Ron's so lucky to have you. See you soon. Can't wait. I turned off my phone and lay down in the dark. 6 days until the appointment. 6 days to decide what kind of person I was going to become. I stayed at the Holiday Inn for 5 days. 5 days of room service and cable TV and planning. Ronald called 43 times. I didn't answer. Laura called 6 times. Dennis called 11. Kevin called twice, both times leaving voicemails asking if I was okay, if I needed anything. His voice tight with something that sounded like guilt, but probably wasn't. On day 3, I drove to a medical supply store on the east side of Austin, the kind that sells equipment to nursing homes and hospitals. I wore a baseball cap and sunglasses, paid cash for a bottle of polyethylene glycol 3350, industrial-strength laxative, the kind they give patients before colonoscopies, 400 grams, pharmaceutical grade, colorless, tasteless, dissolves completely in liquid. The cashier didn't ask questions. I looked like a tired daughter buying supplies for an elderly parent. Invisible again. Perfect. On day 4, I went back to Peak Performance at 5:45 a.m. The gym opened at 5:30 for early morning clients. I knew from Amanda's Instagram that she posted sunrise workout photos 3 times a week. I knew from Dennis's schedule, posted on the gym's website, that he taught a spinning class at 7 a.m. every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Today was Friday, October 25th, 2 days before the Dr. Flynn appointment. I parked 2 spaces away from Ronald's blue Tacoma. He was already inside, probably warming up, getting ready for his workout. I watched through the gym's glass front. There he was on a treadmill, wearing athletic shorts and a peak performance t-shirt that was too tight across his stomach. Dennis was next to him, talking, laughing, both of them drinking from identical shaker bottles. Bright blue bottles with the gym's logo, pre-workout supplements. Dennis had mentioned it on Instagram once, responding to a follower's question about energy drinks. "We make our own pre-workout blend here at Peak Performance, custom formulated for maximum results." I waited. At 6:15, both of them went to the locker room. I got out of my car, walked into the gym like I belonged there, past the distracted front desk girl who was on her phone, straight to the men's locker room door. I pushed it open an inch. Empty. They were probably in the bathroom stalls or the shower area. I slipped inside. 2 blue shaker bottles sat on the bench, both half full of pink liquid. I pulled the polyethylene glycol bottle from my purse, unscrewed the cap on the first shaker, poured in 50 grams, swirled it gently, watched it dissolve completely. Then, the second bottle, another 50 grams. The bathroom door opened. I heard water running. I put the laxative bottle back in my purse, walked out of the locker room, past the front desk, into my car. The whole thing took 90 seconds. I drove to a coffee shop across the street with a clear view of the gym entrance. I ordered a latte and sat by the window. At 6:55, people started arriving for the spinning class. 20, 30, 40 people, mostly women, cycling shoes clicking on the pavement. Amanda arrived at 6:58, wearing neon yellow, setting up her phone on a tripod near the back of the room. She did this every Friday, filmed herself during the class, posted clips to her Instagram stories. "Friday morning motivation, let's crush it." At 7, the class started. I could see them through the window, rows of people on stationary bikes, Dennis at the front on a platform, music thumping, lights flashing. Ronald was in the second row, next to Amanda, both of them pedaling, following Dennis's instructions. At 7:14, something changed. Dennis slowed down, stopped pedaling, got off his bike. Even from across the street, I could see the confusion on his face. He said something to the class, held up one finger, like, "Wait 1 minute," and walked quickly toward the back of the room. At 7:16, Ronald stopped pedaling too. His face was red, not from exertion, from panic. He got off the bike, stumbled, grabbed the handlebars for balance. At 7:17, Dennis ran out of the gym's side door toward the outdoor bathroom. At 7:18, Ronald followed him. At 7:19, 3 more people left the class, then 5, then 10. Polyethylene glycol works fast, very fast, especially in high doses mixed with electrolytes and caffeine from pre-workout supplements. It doesn't cause pain, just urgent, uncontrollable intestinal evacuation, immediate, unavoidable, humiliating. By 7:25, the class had completely fallen apart. People were standing around confused, talking, looking at their phones. Amanda was still filming, had been filming the whole time, capturing everything. Dennis and Ronald hadn't come back. The outdoor bathroom was a single stall. I imagined them both out there, arguing about who got to use it, both of them in gastric distress, sweating, desperate. At 7:30, an ambulance arrived. Someone had called 911. Paramedics went into the gym, came out with Dennis on a stretcher, his face gray. Then Ronald, walking but hunched over, holding his stomach. They loaded both of them into the ambulance. Amanda filmed that too. Of course she did. Content is content. I finished my latte and drove back to the Holiday Inn. By noon, the video was online. Not the full spinning class footage, just a 30-second clip. Dennis stopping mid-instruction, his face contorting. Ronald stumbling off his bike. The chaos, people leaving, confused chatter. Amanda had posted it to TikTok with the caption, "When the pre-workout hits different up Peak Performance ATX, what's in those shakes?" By 3 p.m., it had 30,000 views. By 5 p.m., 75,000. Local news picked it up. Austin gym faces health crisis after multiple members fall ill during class. By 6 p.m., Kevin called. I answered this time. Mom? Mom, are you okay? I've been trying to reach you. I'm fine, Kevin. Where are you? Dad's in the hospital. He and Dennis both got food poisoning or something at the gym, and I can't find you, and everyone's worried. I'm at a hotel. Silence. Then, what hotel? Why? Because I needed space. From your father. Mom, what's going on? Dad said you've been acting strange. You moved money around. You disappeared, and now this thing at the gym. He stopped. I heard it in his voice, the moment he connected the dots. Mom, did you do something? What would I have done, Kevin? I don't know, it seems like a weird coincidence. You and Dad fighting, and then he gets sick at the gym with Dennis and… Chemistry is an exact science, Kevin. Like consequences. Another silence. Longer this time. What does that mean? It means your father, your Uncle Dennis, your Aunt Laura, and you all decided I was a problem to be solved. It means I found out about Dr. Flynn, about the guardianship plan, about the house, about everything. I heard him breathe, sharp and fast. Mom, it wasn't… You knew, Kevin. You knew, and you said nothing. You were going to let them do it. I needed money, Mom. The condo. I'm drowning in debt. And Dad said it would all work out. You wouldn't even know. They'd take care of everything. Take care of me, you mean. Lock me away. Steal my house. While you took your cut. It wasn't like that. What was it like then? He didn't answer. I could hear him crying. Your father called me from the hospital an hour ago, I said. He canceled the appointment with Dr. Flynn. Said he's dropping everything. Said it was all a misunderstanding. Want to know why? Why? Because he knows now. He knows I'm not someone to be managed. I'm not sick. I'm not weak. I'm not going quietly. Mom, please, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. You have 48 hours, Kevin. 48 hours to decide whose side you're on. Your father's or mine. Because this isn't over. It's barely started. I hung up. My phone buzzed immediately. A text from an unknown number. This is Amanda. I know who you are now. Ron's not sick mother, his wife. You're his wife. We need to talk. Someone had shown her the news coverage. Someone had mentioned Ronald's name, connected him to me. Or maybe she'd finally looked him up, done 5 minutes of basic research she should have done 8 months ago. I texted back, yes, we do need to talk. Saturday, 10 a.m., Magnolia Cafe on Lake Austin Boulevard. Come alone. 3 dots appeared, disappeared, appeared again. I'll be there. I put the phone down and looked at myself in the hotel mirror. Same tired face, same lines around my eyes. But something was different now. I looked dangerous. I looked awake. 2 days until I met Amanda. 2 days to plan the next move. Ronald thought it was over. He thought canceling the appointment meant surrender. He had no idea what was coming. Amanda arrived at Magnolia Cafe 7 minutes late, wearing sunglasses and a baseball cap like she was hiding from paparazzi. She sat down across from me without ordering anything. You knew? She said. No greeting. You knew about us and you didn't say anything at the gym. I wanted to see who you were first. She took off her sunglasses. Her eyes were red, puffy. He told me you were separated. He said you lived together because of financial complications, but the marriage was over. He said you were sick. I'm not sick. We're not separated. We've been married 34 years, and he's never mentioned divorce once. She put her face in her hands. Oh my God. Oh my God. I'm so stupid. You're not stupid. You're 29 and you believed a man who lied to you. That's different. I'm pregnant. She set it into her palms, muffled. 2 months. I haven't told him yet. I was going to tell him next week after he supposedly finalized things with you. I felt something cold settle in my chest. Are you sure it's his? Yes. I haven't been with anyone else in over a year. It's his. She looked up at me. What am I going to do? That's your decision. But you should know something first. I pulled out my phone, opened the email screenshots I'd saved. Ronald wasn't planning to leave me for you. He was planning to have me declared incompetent, steal my assets, and split the money with my sister, my nephew Dennis, and my son. You were a distraction. Dennis introduced you to Ronald specifically to keep him occupied while they arranged everything. I showed her the emails. She read them, her face going from pink to white to gray. Dennis set me up? Dennis knew? Dennis arranged it. He got paid $30,000 to keep you distracted. That's a quote from the email. She stood up so fast her chair fell backward. I'm going to kill him. I'm going to actually kill him. Sit down, Amanda. She sat. Her hands were shaking. I need you to do something, I said. Tomorrow night, Sunday, there's going to be a dinner at my sister Laura's house in Dallas. Everyone will be there. Ronald, Laura, Dennis, my son Kevin. I need you to come with me. Why would I do that? Because you're angry. Because you were used. Because you deserve to watch them squirm. I leaned forward. And because if this goes to court, I'll need witnesses. People who can testify about Ronald's character, his lies, his schemes. She stared at me for a long moment. You're scarier than I thought. Good. She left without saying yes or no, but I knew she'd come. Angry people always do. That afternoon, I called Laura. I want to talk, all of us. Tomorrow night, your place, 6 p.m. Karen, I don't think that's a good idea. Everyone's very upset right now. 6 p.m., Laura, be there. Tell Ronald, tell Dennis, tell Kevin. If anyone's missing, I go to the police Monday morning with everything I have. I hung up before she could argue. Sunday, October 27th, the day that was supposed to be my appointment with Dr. Flynn. Instead, I was driving to Dallas with a voice recorder in my purse and Amanda in my passenger seat. She'd shown up at the Holiday Inn at 3 p.m., wearing all black like she was going to a funeral. Maybe she was. I broke up with him, she said as we got on the highway. Texted him this morning, told him I knew everything. He called me 47 times. I didn't answer. Did you tell him about the pregnancy? No, that's between me and a doctor now. I'm not keeping it. She said it flatly, staring out the window. I'm not bringing a kid into this mess. I didn't tell her what to do. It wasn't my place. We got to Laura's house at 5:55 p.m. A nice house, 2 stories, professionally landscaped, bought with her divorce settlement. Laura answered the door, her face tight. Karen. And Amanda, is it? Come in. The living room was full. Ronald on the couch, looking thin and exhausted, still recovering. Dennis next to him, avoiding eye contact. Kevin in the armchair, pale, nervous. Laura stood by the fireplace like a hostess at a party nobody wanted to attend. Everyone's here, Laura said. Now what? I put my purse on the coffee table and pulled out the voice recorder, the small pink one, the one Kevin had given me 10 years ago for my birthday. Remember this, Kevin? He nodded slowly. Good, because I've been using it. I pressed play. Dennis's voice filled the room, recorded at peak performance 5 days ago. Yeah, Ron comes here 3 times a week. His wife doesn't know. About the gym, about Amanda, about any of it. She's completely clueless. My voice. Does he talk about his wife? Dennis. Only to complain. Says she's gotten paranoid, unstable. That's why we're doing the whole Dr. Flynn thing, you know? Get her declared incompetent, move her into care, sell the house. Split it 4 ways. Ron, me, my mom, and Kevin. Should clear $500K after expenses. My mom's handling the legal side. I stopped the recording. The room was silent except for someone's breathing, fast and panicked. Ronald's maybe, or Laura's. There's more, I said. I pulled out my phone, played another recording, this one from Laura's phone call 3 days ago. Her voice shrill. Karen asked about Dr. Flynn. She knows something. We need to move up the timeline or cancel everything. Kevin stood up. Mom, I didn't know it was this bad, I swear. Dad told me it was just, he said you were really sick and this was to protect you. Sit down, Kevin. He sat. I looked at Ronald. You told Amanda I was sick. You told Kevin I was sick. You told Dr. Flynn I was sick. But I'm not sick, am I, Ronald? I'm just in your way. He opened his mouth. Nothing came out. Amanda stood up from where she'd been sitting silently by the door. I was your distraction. You paid Dennis to introduce us. You lied to me for 8 months. You told me you loved me. Ronald's face crumpled. Amanda, I did love you. I do. This was all just, I'm pregnant, she said. The room exploded. Laura gasped. Dennis swore. Kevin put his head in his hands. Ronald went white. It's yours, Amanda continued. 2 months. And before you ask, no, I'm not keeping it. I'm not bringing your child into this nightmare. I'm not keeping anything that connects me to you. She walked out. The front door slammed. I pulled out one more thing from my purse. A pink USB drive, the same one Kevin had given me with the voice recorder, now loaded with every email, every bank statement, every piece of evidence I'd collected. Tomorrow morning, I said, I'm filing for divorce. This USB drive goes to my lawyer. Everything on it, the guardianship scheme, the Dr. Flynn bribe, the financial planning, all of it. If any of you try to fight me, if any of you try to claim I'm incompetent or unstable or anything else, this becomes evidence in a criminal case. Elder abuse, conspiracy, fraud, all of you. Laura found her voice. You're destroying this family. No, Laura. You did that when you decided I was worth more dead than alive. I looked at Kevin. He was crying, silent tears running down his face. Mom, he whispered. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I was drowning in debt and Dad said it would be easy. You wouldn't even notice and I needed money. You needed money more than you needed a mother. No, that's not. I love you, Mom, I do. Then prove it, I said. Tomorrow. My lawyer's office, 10 a.m. You testify about what you know, about what they planned. You do that, we can start fixing this. You don't, I never want to see you again. I picked up my purse and walked to the door, turned back one more time. Oh, and Ronald? The aftershave? The gym? That was me. All of it. Just so you know, I left them sitting there in Laura's living room, the family I'd spent 34 years supporting, protecting, loving. They looked small now, broken, exactly how they'd planned to leave me. I drove back to Austin alone. The hotel room was waiting. So was the lawyer I'd hired, and the divorce papers I'd been preparing, and the life I was about to start building without any of them. It was almost over. Almost. Kevin showed up at the lawyer's office at 9:47 a.m., 13 minutes early, holding a folder of documents I didn't know he had. Bank statements showing the $15,000 Ronald had already transferred him as a down payment on his cooperation. Text messages from Dennis outlining the timeline. An email from Laura with the name of the assisted living facility where they'd planned to place me. Garden View Senior Community, $6,800 a month. 40 minutes outside Austin in a town I'd never heard of. My lawyer, Catherine Morales, 52, sharp as a knife, looked at me across her desk. This is more than enough. We can pursue criminal charges if you want. All 4 of them. I looked at Kevin. He wouldn't meet my eyes. What do you want to happen? I asked him. He finally looked up. I want to fix it. I don't know how, but I want to try. You can't fix it, Kevin. You can only do better from now on. Then that's what I'll do. Catherine filed the divorce papers that afternoon. By Wednesday, Ronald's lawyer called asking to negotiate. By Friday, the preliminary settlement was done. I got the house, 60% of all joint assets, $312,000, full ownership of my retirement accounts, and my car. Ronald got his Tacoma, his tools, and a 2-bedroom apartment lease I didn't pay for. Dennis lost his personal training certification after the peak performance investigation revealed he'd been falsifying client health records and accepting bribes to recommend specific wellness doctors to elderly members. Dr. Marcus Flynn lost his medical license. Laura faced no criminal charges, but her lawyer friends mysteriously stopped returning her calls. Amanda posted a 30-second video to Instagram on November 2nd. Just her face, no makeup, tired eyes. I dated a married man for 8 months. He told me his wife had Alzheimer's. She doesn't. She's brilliant. He tried to steal her house while pretending to take care of her. I was his distraction. His nephew pimped me out for $30,000. I'm sharing this because women need to know what men are capable of. Check before you trust. always check. 200,000 views in 24 hours. Ronald's business lost 3 major contracts within a week. By January 2025, the divorce was final. Ronald moved to San Antonio, took a job with a smaller firm, 40% pay cut. I heard through Kevin that he was dating someone new, a woman his own age this time, a widow who didn't ask questions. Kevin rented an apartment in Austin, 15 minutes from my house. He came over every Sunday with takeout, usually Thai food, my favorite. We didn't talk about Ronald or Laura or what happened. We talked about his work, about architecture, about the small things that didn't hurt. It felt like starting over with a stranger who happened to look like my son. One Sunday in March, he brought groceries instead of takeout. I thought I could cook, if that's okay. You cook now? I'm learning, trying to be less useless. We made spaghetti together, burned the garlic bread, laughed about it. It wasn't forgiveness, not yet, but it was something. In April, I donated all my old lab equipment to a technical school on the east side. Beakers, pH meters, safety goggles, the whole collection except one thing. The brown bottle of Carolina Reaper extract, still half full, sat in my bathroom cabinet next to my moisturizer and vitamins. The chemistry teacher, a young woman named Rachel, maybe 30, looked through the boxes with tears in her eyes. This is incredible. Our students, most of them can't afford to go to university, but with this equipment they can get certified, get jobs. You have no idea what this means. I have some idea. What made you donate it all? I used it for something important. Now someone else should get the chance. She held up a pipette, examining it. What did you use it for exactly? Research? I smiled. Small experiments, personal projects, justice, mostly. She didn't ask what I meant. On May 15, 2025, 6 months after the dinner at Laura's house, a letter arrived from Ronald's lawyer. Inside was a settlement offer, typed on expensive letterhead, 3 pages long. The summary: Ronald would relinquish all remaining claims to any shared property, waive any future alimony considerations, and sign a comprehensive NDA about the events of October 2024. In exchange, I would remove all recordings and evidence from online circulation and agree not to pursue further legal action. The letter noted that several of the recordings had been shared on social media by parties unknown, possibly Amanda, possibly Kevin, possibly me. They'd been downloaded, reposted, turned into TikToks and reaction videos. Ronald's face, his voice, his schemes, all of it was out there now, permanent and searchable. The criminal investigation into the attempted guardianship fraud was still open. The DA's office had contacted me twice asking if I wanted to press charges. I'd said I was considering it. Ronald's lawyer wrote, "My client acknowledges the pain caused by his actions and accepts full responsibility for the dissolution of his marriage. However, continued public exposure and potential criminal prosecution would destroy what remains of his career and personal life. He asks for mercy, not for himself, but for the possibility of eventual redemption." Mercy. The word sat on the page like a stone. I had 48 hours to respond. I sat at my kitchen table, the same table where I'd sat 7 months ago holding Ronald's jacket with lipstick on the tie, and I thought about mercy, about redemption, about what justice actually looked like after everything. Kevin called that night. Dad's lawyer called me, asked if I'd talk to you. I told him no. But you can talk to me if you want. I don't want to. Whatever you decide, I support it. He made his choices. You get to make yours. After we hung up, I opened my laptop and looked at the recordings one more time. Ronald's voice, Dennis's laugh, Laura's cold calculations. Then I looked at my bank account. The house deed with only my name, the small victories I'd built from the ruins of 34 years. I thought about Amanda, 29 years old, starting over, probably smarter now, definitely more careful. I thought about the women in Laura's life who might be next, who might need a warning. I thought about Ronald, 62, rebuilding in San Antonio, maybe learning something, maybe not. And I thought about me. Karen, 59 years old, sitting in her kitchen on a Tuesday night in May, holding the power to destroy or to release. And finally finally understanding that the power itself was the point. I didn't need to use it. I just needed to have it. I picked up my phone and called Catherine. The settlement. I'll sign it on one condition. Name it. The recordings stay online. I won't add new ones, but I won't take down what's already there. People can make their own judgments. She was quiet for a moment. They won't agree to that. Then tell them I'll see them in criminal court. And tell them I have excellent documentation. 2 days later, Ronald's lawyer called back. They agreed. I signed the papers on a Friday afternoon, notarized at the bank where I'd transferred my money 7 months ago. Mr. Klein, the manager, shook my hand. Mrs. Hughes, it's good to see you looking well. It's Ms. Richter now, I said, back to my maiden name. And yes, I'm well, very well. That Sunday, Kevin brought over Thai food and a small plant, a succulent in a blue ceramic pot. For your kitchen window. Thought you could use something living around here. I put it on the sill above the sink where the morning light hit just right. We ate pad thai and spring rolls and talked about his new project, an affordable housing development, his first real assignment with meaning behind it. I want to design places for people like you, he said. People who worked their whole lives and deserve better than what we almost did to you. That's good work, Kevin. I know I can't fix what I did. No, but you can do better. You are doing better. After he left, I cleaned up the dishes, watered the succulent, and sat in my living room as the sun set through the windows, painting everything gold and orange and warm. My phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. This is Amanda. Thought you should know. I'm back in school. Nursing program. Figured I should learn to actually help people instead of just posting about fitness. Thank you for showing me what strength really looks like. I didn't reply, but I saved the number. Outside, the neighborhood was quiet, normal, full of lives being lived behind closed doors. Somewhere in San Antonio, Ronald was probably having dinner alone or with his new widow girlfriend, probably not thinking about me at all anymore. Somewhere in Dallas, Laura was probably blaming me for her ruined reputation, probably telling anyone who'd listen that I'd overreacted, that families were supposed to forgive. And here, in Austin, in my house with my name on the deed, I sat with my choices and my consequences and my very carefully cultivated peace. The brown bottle was still in my bathroom cabinet. I'd never thrown it away, not because I planned to use it again, but because some experiments, once you know they work, you keep the formula, just in case. What would you have done in Karen's situation? Would you have shown mercy or pursued criminal charges? Share your story with us. We read every message. Your experience might be the next one we tell.